Good morning. So my hope is that today is a short video. The challenge is, can I rescue this little 110cc Coolster four-wheeler that I got for my kids? They're everywhere, they're cheap. I think I paid $400 for this one almost 4 years ago. My oldest girl rode it around for a while. Carburetor messed up. I put another carburetor on it. It ran great. I let it sit without a full tank or an empty tank and ended up getting rust in the tank. Go figure, everything on this thing is plastic except for the tank. And so cleaned that out, went through 3 or 4 filters, put the wrong size carburetor on it, made it sound like a jet plane. Then ordered another carburetor, so now we're on carburetor number 3 and it ran great. Both my girls loved it. They would take it out to our front field, they'd ride it around, and they always got their helmet and their gloves on. My daughter calls me on my way home from work and says, "Dad, it cut off. I think we need another filter." I said, okay, I figured there might be some rust in the tank still, just working its way out. And she said, "I got it started, I'll bring it back to the house." I said, all right. So she brings it back to the house. I come out the next day and I start to try to figure out what's going on. Cannot get it to run. And then I start going through the basics. You know, I pulled the plug looks good, it was brand new anyway. And I go ahead and put it on an old school method, put it on a piece of metal and turn the thing over and realize I don't have any spark. And so what I've quickly learned in 4 years of owning this thing is that although they're cheap and they're everywhere, every single part on them is cheap. So I've got a pretty good guess what I think it is, and that's why I hope it's a short video. But what you'll see in this box right here is pretty much everything to rebuild the electrical system. Another plug, what they call the GDI module, another coil, another voltage regulator, and probably 1 or 2 more things. So come along as I give it my first shot. I'm gonna have to get the jump pack to even try to crank this thing over because it's been sitting for a little bit. And hopefully I don't try and take my foot out on the rack again and my girls can start riding four-wheelers. So this one's actually in pretty good shape, and you'll see I've already brought out the battery pack and I've hooked it up. And like I said, I replaced all the fuel lines in the carburetor and then lost all spark. And so there's this little module that sits right there that gets plugged in. It's called the GDI module. They're cheap. You can get them off Amazon for like $9. But for about $16, you can get everything that does all the electrical system. Again, that's a new plug. I just put one in there. This little thing right here is what I'm hoping the problem is. So we're going to start there because I already took the old one off. It's a common point of failure. And this one wasn't attached to the frame. So I'm sure that didn't do cheap electronics any good. It's a little 5-pin. It's nothing special at all. Plugs in pretty darn easy. I'm not really having a successful attempt trying to do this one-handed, but I should be able to get it on here in a second. There we go. And it just slides through. You push it till that little pin kind of clicks in. There's a pin right there. So that puts it in place. If this actually works, I'll have to, zip tie it, or well, I'll take that back. There's the little flap that it's supposed to sit on. This little piece of rubber comes off, and it looks like she just spins up and she sits on there like that. Nothing too complicated. So that was about, what, 30 seconds, and most of it was me trying to actually get it to plug in. So fuel valve is on. Since I haven't started it in a while, I'll probably need to choke it. The choke's over here. That's just a vent tube that's not hooked up. So we'll see how it does. And I really hope that this ends up being it. You also might ask, why is a four-wheeler video on my outdoor channel? Well, what do a lot of us use when we go plant food plots, check tree stands, spray for food plots, and kind of clean up the area? A four-wheeler. So that's why it ended up on here instead of my car channel. So battery pack's hooked up. We're going to cut the key on. I'm looking for the little light that tells me it's in neutral. It was. I'll hit the switch. We'll see if we get any luck. And you got to pull the front brake to see if she'll start. Maybe I actually didn't have the choke on. Let's see what happens. There we go. Now she's idling a little low. Let's see if as I take the choke off, if she's going to pick up and run fine. We'll give it a minute, okay? Let's see if it... I kind of backed the governor off a little bit. It's at least idling, so I'll take that. That's a step in the right direction, you know. Let me make sure that valve's all the way on. Okay, so it's running. So like I said, this thing would not run at all. I spent the 16 bucks instead of the 9 just in case it was a coil pack or a voltage regulator. But folks, these things are out there. They're cheap. They're easy. You know, you can pick them up off Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, whatever, for 100, 200, 300 bucks. And they're not as popular as they were 3, 4, 5 years ago. But what I really like about this 110, especially the Coolster, one, it's got the key on and off switch, but I also have the remote. And so the remote lets me cut it off if something doesn't look right or the kids aren't behaving. And it's also got the screw on the throttle. And I usually take the cover off when I want to check it, but I can control how much throttle they're allowed to have and how fast they can go. I've already had one daughter fall off of this year before last, and so that control is very important. So there you go, it's running. I spent 2 minutes working on this thing. You want a cheap little 110 or 125, go find you one. It'll even carry me around. Granted, I'm not going to put a sprayer on the back or anything like that, but it's at least fun to play with. So, went a lot better than I thought it would.